I can go all the way back to maybe my first program. I recall like the first time I ever like had a keyboard and started coding was maybe at the age of 7 or 8. It was back in the day using BASIC, and I just fell in love. I had this book that's using like kind of a quiz game as an introduction to like how to write basic programs, and I wrote the first one, and after that, started coding over and over like the same things in the book. And when it ran out, I stopped because there was no internet. And then kind of left that aside. My family's mainly in the medicine field, so I was thinking I'm gonna be a doctor one day. But then I fell in love again with math, and started like looking into the engineering track instead of like the medicine track in high school, and focused more on that. And then I went to the American University in Cairo, where I majored in computer science. And one of the stories I always tell like folks back then in 2002, when I was just joining the university as a freshman, first week, I met a friend, or who became a friend. Met a stranger who asked me like, "What do you want to do like after you graduate?" And I said, "I'm gonna go work at Microsoft in the US." And he was like, "Are you crazy? Like nobody's hiring from like this university for various reasons back then." But the idea was like that was absolutely impossible at that moment. Fast forward 3 years, I got a email from our career advisement office, and I basically applied for Microsoft, and they came back to hire from Egypt, and that's where I'm from. So after going through all the series of like resume filtering, interview like on the phone and in-person interview, got an offer to work at Microsoft. After graduation, I went to the Visual Studio team, and I spent a couple of years there, and then moved to the Bay Area to work on Hotmail.com. Back then, now it's Outlook.com. So infrastructure as a service and platform as a service for a kind of plethora of Windows Live features and Windows Live projects. Then I got the bug of machine learning. I can't remember the exact moment where I saw like a talk or some solution that was so elegant, like it's so like data is the new code, and how we can use data to like solve some of the problems we've been facing that a lot of rule systems cannot actually find a good solution for. And I started, tinkering around and playing around with some of the problems we had at work, and it was obvious to me like this is my passion. I'm gonna follow it. So I started working on some like Markov decision processes for like improving the repair strategies for machine and whatnot. And then I just noticed like I want more. I want way more. So I got into the anti-spam team. I led a couple of teams working on email deliverability, mail transfer agents between like Gmail.com, Hotmail.com, and Yahoo.com, and all the big players. And you basically build your own MTA, and you have to like filter spam at different stages of like email delivery and so on. So I got into that, learned a little bit more, but I wanted more. So I went to LinkedIn, where my team was, I led a team there working on infrastructure and some modeling for the personalization and recommendations that you get on any newsfeed at LinkedIn, including the homepage, whether you're on your computer or in your phone. And this is where I really learned a lot. I was surrounded by people who are entire day to day is just getting to the best, like performance metrics and system performance for like serving machine learning systems, and understanding user behavior and like modeling. And overall, like I learned a ton. And then it was like this idea we had with a couple of friends, and we had an idea with a couple of friends, and we just wanted to go and do something about it. And it was how can we use augmented intelligence, or in our case like we that's what we like to call it, the AI, to actually help people be more productive at work. And that's the initial thought of like the startup we co-founded, which is Voicea. And we started looking at like meetings as a starting point for where people are actually spending a lot of time, and how can we automate a lot of the tasks, so you turn talk into action, and you can start thinking of like how to kind of bring the meetings content into the enterprise workflow. So you and I are now on a conference. Our agent could have easily joined us, recorded the whole thing, captured like action items and other tasks, but also give us recommendations over chat of like, hey, I heard you like say this. Would you like me to schedule the meeting next week? And if you say yes, it will just schedule the meeting for you. So really integrating into like the enterprise workflow, what is lost in meetings, and bringing that, to the kind of like ecosystem that you're working on. Whether you're using like a task manager or like calendar or any other system like CRM, we had a lot of integrations. So bridging the gap between what happens inside the meeting room or in the conference line and what you actually use to do work. So we got acquired by Cisco a few months ago, and now I'm running the AI for contact center businesses, or the contact center solutions. Cisco is a big player in that space, and there's a lot to be done here. We're looking into also augmenting the agents, making them more productive, and making supervisors more productive, helping customers who also call on the phone or chat or interact to get support and other aspects of the contact center. So there's a lot AI can do there, and we're very excited to actually be building that here.